Hey, Alan. My name is Ricky McGraw. I am the president of SFR Services. I have the pleasure of having Alan Weinberg on the Zoom call with me. Alan is the board president of Sago Pointe Association and Copperleaf Golf Club, which is in Fort Myers. He's been an amazing help along the way, securing roof replacements through the insurance company and working as a team with SFR. Generally, I would do a testimonial in person, but I believe Alan's in Ohio, currently enjoying a little less warmer weather than we have in South Florida. Thanks for coming on today, Alan. Do you mind giving me a quick background on yourself?
Um, I'm 70 years old. I've been retired for about 5 years. I was the managing partner of a law firm up here in Ohio. Had 1,300 employees. We actually expanded over the years. We had 10 offices, covered multiple states. We did a lot of collection work and bankruptcy representation of creditors, represented most of the major banks and in-house auto finance companies like Ford, GMAC, Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase. I retired with snowbirds in Florida. We have a beach condo down in Copperleaf, and I'm the president of the Homeowners Association down there. We also live in a condo association up here in Ohio, and I'm the president up here. So I get lots of problems to deal with, running a condo association.
It's a pretty thankless job sometimes, right?
Yeah, but pays well.
So my next question was, how devastating was Hurricane Irma to your community?
Well, we were up here when Hurricane Irma hit in September of 17, and the center of the Irma storm, based on the projections, was going right up I-75. I-75 is about 200 yards from my front door. I mean, I have big hills and trees and everything blocking it, but we were pretty close to the center, which I guess was somewhat fortunate because I understand that it's actually worse at the outskirts of the storm where the ice swirls more. But we had, some trees down. We had a little bit of water on the streets. We had some tile on the streets. The reports I got said, that the buildings were still there and we had a lot less damage than we expected. But then as time went on, we started realizing we had, more damage than you could see because a lot of our roof damage, as an example, the roofs were all loose. They looked okay from the street, but when people started going up on the roofs to inspect them, you could actually see them picking up sections of the roof and lifting it. So, we learned over time that we had a lot more damage than we could see from the street.
Gotcha. Once you guys got the insurance company involved right after the storm, what was her initial reaction, and how did that process go before SFR Services got involved?
By way of background, we relied heavily on our management company to handle the claim, and they were supposed to, put the insurance agency on notice, submit the materials, and we kept following up with them saying, we haven't heard anything. What have you done? What's going on? And finally, we contacted our insurance agent who said the claim's never been filed. That was 4 months into it. Wisteria, which is the other street of condos in our development, filed a claim like right away, and you guys were already out there doing their work before we even got our claim filed. And I think by the time our claim got filed, the insurance companies realized they were getting so many claims that they started to hardball them. They were stretching them out. They weren't paying them right away. And they just gave us a really difficult time. They sent their engineers out to look at our roofs. We never got the report for 6 months. They were making us offers, but they wouldn't show us the engineer report as to how much damage there really was. So we weren't really getting anywhere with the insurance company. And basically they were offering us enough money to fix the roofs, but not to replace them or totally tear them off and replace
them. To this day, have you ever seen that engineer report?
I haven't seen it. I'm not sure if they sent it to you or not, but I remember that after we had contracted with you guys, which was about a year after the storm, we still had, you hadn't gotten the report, nor had we at that point. So they really dragged it out for months and months without showing us the engineer report. But, we had our engineer come out and he was recommending that we needed new roofs. The insurance company was waiting on their report and things weren't happening, which is when we started talking to you.
Gotcha. And obviously seeing Wisteria Point get handled in a pretty quick manner, that I guess more or less validated your concerns that the roofs were damaged.
Right. I mean, they're a couple hundred yards down the street from us and they're having all new roofs because they had substantial damage. We're right on the same path, right on the same line with the exact same buildings. And we're going, how can they have all new roofs? And we're sitting here with an insurance company that's telling us to do things that were probably illegal or improper anyway. They wanted us to they were going to replace one roof, and they wanted us to harvest the tile from that roof to repair the other roofs, which, you know, it's probably not against, it was probably against the law, against code. And, you know, each building is separately insured. So by, you know, taking tile from one building to fix another building, you're kind of mixing and matching your insurance coverages. And, you know, everything that we heard from talking to the people at Wisteria was that these roofs are shot.
Gotcha. I mean, what if you guys actually went through and made those repairs? How do you believe the community would be today?
Well, I don't think repairs were the answer. You know, while we were waiting for the roofs to get fixed, we were having leaks, which you guys came out and took care of right away as part of the relationship. But, you know, our roofs were almost 18, 19 years old. You know, they were getting near the end of their useful life. And, you know, from the people that were out there, you weren't the only company that came out. You know, as you know, there were many, many roofing companies going into every development pitching for the work. The first company that came out, as I said, I saw the guys go up on the roof and pick up big sections of the roof. And, you know, they said, you know, these roofs have been compromised. The underlayment's been, you know, damaged to some extent. You know, you really need to go fight with your insurance company for all new roofs. So if we'd gotten anything less than that, I'm sure the people wouldn't be happy. But fortunately, it worked out and everybody's really happy.
Gotcha. So whenever you guys did have leaks in multiple buildings, you know, we reacted and actually mitigated the damage. Did we ever send the community a bill?
No, and we called you many times because we first came out, you started putting tarps on the buildings, but they were out there so long, the tops started getting shredded in the wind. You had to come back and replace some of them. There were a couple where you actually had to do some temporary repairs because the tarps weren't sealing it, but, you know, we never paid a bill individually for any of the repairs or tarping or anything.
Okay. So, you know, at SFR, whenever we do stuff like that, and especially on a community of your size, generally that's in the 6 digits, you know, 100, 120 grand is what we specifically spent before we ever received a dime from the insurance carrier. And that was done under the assignment of benefits. And I know, at least when we first met, that the assignment of benefits was almost a non-starter because it is kind of a scary document. Can you kind of explain how the assignment of benefits work on your guys' behalf?
Okay. My understanding of the assignment of benefits, first of all, I understand it's been changed. They changed the law as far as what you can do and how you can do it. And some of it pertains to what the insurance companies have to offer their insurance. But back then in 2018, when we were talking to you, we basically would be assigning to you all of our rights. You actually would take over our insurance claim. You would have the ability to negotiate it, the ability to accept or reject the settlement. You know, you really controlled everything. And that, you know, was a tremendous leap of faith for us to do, to assign that to you, because again, you know, we recently met you, so to speak. We didn't have a track record with you. It wasn't like you were the company that had been doing our repairs. So we're basically giving up all of our rights to this, you know, strange company that's, you know, going to have the ability to say yay or nay on a settlement. You know, we may have said, okay, that's a good settlement, we'll take it, where you said, yeah, we can get you more, we'll get these all roofs or whatever. So, you know, it was really, you know, a big leap of faith. And, you know, one of the keys here is the other condo street in our development, which is Wisteria. You know, you had gone in, you made pretty much the same representations to them, you got it done, they were super happy. So they were very high in recommending you guys. So we said, okay, let's give it a shot. And, you know, we signed our claim to you and you immediately started negotiating, you know, with the insurance carrier, sending them all the documents, your insurance certificates, you know, anything they needed, you know, pictures, reports, and they stonewalled you for a while the same way they did to us.
Gotcha. So if you,
And, you know, got to the point where when things weren't happening, you gave them a deadline. Go ahead.
so if the community did not sign with a company like us, what was your next route if you didn't believe their original settlement was enough to repair the roofs?
We actually were working with, you know, a roofing company that had done some of the repairs in our community. And we also had a public adjuster that we were talking to. They came out and they looked at the roofs and they took pictures, and, you know, they felt that some of the roofs needed to be repaired, needed to be replaced. Maybe some of them could be repaired, but they were still a long way from where the insurance company was offering us, you know, funds. And, you know, when we talked to you, I just felt more comfortable that in terms of what was needed, what the problems were, that you guys had a better handle on our situation, particularly since you did almost an identical job down the street. As I mentioned, Wisteria has about the same number of buildings, same sizes, and we thought, okay, here's a company that's been in our development, has seen the roofs, know what's involved. Let's go with them, and we did.
Gotcha. So,
and Ricky McGraw was a great salesman.
Oh, there you go. Toot my own horn. All right. So once we actually got a settlement from the carrier, which took, it was a little north of a year, right?
It was just about a year. I think it was like in August or September of 19 that you actually got the settlement.
And how quick after that process did we actually start tearing off the first roof?
Probably in October, beginning of November. We was period about probably 6 to 8 weeks where, first of all, there wasn't a super rush because at least nothing was leaking at the time. But also, had to order the tile, and it was going to take time for that to come in. And the rip-off process and tear-off process goes a lot more quickly than the tile. I should say it the other way around. The tile laying goes more quickly than the tear-off. So, your tear-off guys had a lot of time to do the work while waiting for the tile delivery. But, it was coordinated. The program went well, as you know, because you settled a number of claims at the time you settled ours. You asked us permission if you could subcontract the actual work to Colonial. And they were a first-rate company. They set up a meeting with us. They told us exactly what to expect, how it would go down. They gave us information to distribute to the owners, and everything they gave us, it's just the way it went down. They did a great job.
Good. And during the construction process, how was the site set up? Did we have any incidents, popped tires, torn up lawns? Kind of what was the overall gist of the construction project?
Up front, Colonial said if they create any damage or create any problems, it would be taken care of at their expense. They also gave us a protocol that if anybody got a flat tire, they wanted a picture of the nail in the tire. They wanted a picture of the nail to make sure it was one of theirs. Early on, we had about 6 or 7 nail issues, and it wasn't that they weren't cleaning up at night. When they left at night, the place was broom clean. It was really well kept up. It was clean. The problems were some of the nails fell on the grass. When the landscapers would come and cut the grass, the nails would go flying out into the street, and that's where they would get run over. But they took care of everybody. A couple of people had to buy new tires for because it couldn't be fixed. There was one place where somebody on a roof was at the edge of a roof and put their foot through the lanai roof. They sent a guy out that fixed it, that the owner said it was incredible. He wanted to hire him to paint his unit. He did such a nice job. They were just wonderful. There was one garage where the forklift banged the garage door when they were unloading tile. Replaced the panels on the door, painted it, just did everything. It was really a pleasure working with them.
Good, good. And whenever the settlement came in, obviously it was a multi-million-dollar settlement. I'm not going to say exactly how much it was, but generally the assignment of benefits is taken that the contractor gets all the money, then he goes out and does the project. I set up almost a hybrid type draw system with you guys to make sure you had that comfort level, and we actually had you guys escrow the money. Can you kind of explain how the payments work throughout the process?
Well, you're right that on the assignment of benefits, you would have gotten all the insurance money, but being the attorney and being very cautious, we're talking about several millions of dollars. I put in an addendum with you gentlemen that, we wanted the insurance company to issue any checks jointly to you and to our homeowners association, that you would endorse the checks and give them to us. We would deposit them and hold them, and then we would pay you as the work was done. On each building, we set up a payment program where we gave you money up front to start the project. We gave you money on that building when the dry-in process was complete, which is when you put the materials down that go under the tile. And then we would pay you money when the roof was complete. However, as each building was done, we did hold back a little bit of money, a set amount, so that as the job was going along, we were building a reserve just to make sure to protect ourselves that the job would get done, that the punch lists would be done, that everything would be taken care of. And you agreed to that. We paid you on time. And at the end of the job, punch list was done. The permits were all satisfied in terms of the county coming out and looking at the work. We wrote you the final check, and you've been paid in full.
And, I do want to give a shout out to Kevin England, who actually, throughout the billing process, I believe, with how much he was handling with all his other communities, we really flooded him with information and resort management. They did a great job facilitating the funds to keep us moving in the construction project.
Yeah, and just anybody out there that's looking at this, we also set up a separate bank account. You can ask your bank or how to do it, but the insurance proceeds, far outstrip what FDIC would insure in a bank account. So here we're depositing millions of dollars in an account. We wanted to make sure that we were protected. So he did open a special account that would protect those funds as opposed to putting them in our regular operating account.
What would be your recommendation for other communities that haven't filed a claim that did have those post-Irma damages and tried to repair their roofs on their own?
I know of several situations where condo developments have had roofing companies come out to do repairs. And it got to a point where the roofing company basically said, this is great for us because you're going to be calling us for a long time, constantly doing repairs because these roofs are shot. However, to be honest with you, you guys really should be filing an insurance claim and looking at seeing what you can do to replace your roofs or at least fix them now proactively, even if it's not a whole roof replacement, so that you're not calling us and then you have the people complaining they got stains on their ceilings and the drywall is wet and what have you. And I think that anybody that hasn't filed a claim should look into it. It doesn't really cost you anything to file a claim usually. And in many cases, the insurance companies are paying the claims because the damage was significant. In our development, something like 80% of the homes, we have about 450 houses in our development. About 80% of them have new roofs. The 2 condo streets have all new roofs. So I think the insurance companies realize that there was substantial damage out there. And now that it's a few years out, they've been spreading their losses. I think they're a little bit more receptive to pay. When all those losses started hitting them up front, that's when they dug in and started giving everybody a hard time.
And they continue to do so. I mean, we are on the back end of, Irma. And once September passes, September 11th is the final date to file a claim. Once that passes, we most likely will start seeing some settlements come in because they get a general grasp of what, the total loss is going to be from the storm.
I can tell you that in our development, I know there's a couple of houses that are up for sale that did not have new roofs put on. And that's a really sticking point when the buyers come in. The potential buyers want enough money put in escrow to replace the roof. So some of the people are trying to sell their house are now having new roofs put on them because they filed an insurance claim and lo and behold, they were successful rather than paying it out of their proceeds from the sale of their home. So, there's a lot of roofs out there that have damage and, the insurance companies know it.
Yeah, I always get worried, in those scenarios. Let's just say you have 400 homes and 50 of them didn't get new roofs. And at some point they sold for 10, 15, 20% less because of the roof issue. That affects comps within the neighborhood. It affects property values. And it essentially impacts even the people that did get a new roof.
Yeah, but I think the people that are selling the house don't care at that point. They're leaving.
True.
Not my problem. But, trying to sell a house, that's one of the issues. A lot of buyers are saying, we'll buy your house if you put a new roof on it.
Gotcha. Well, I do appreciate your time. I know this morning I should be working. Most likely you should be out on the golf course, but it's raining. So I do appreciate your time a ton, and thank you so much.
All right, I appreciate what you did for our community. Believe me, when we started fighting with the insurance company, we never thought we were going to end up getting our roofs replaced. And everything that you promised to us came through. All we paid was our deductible, and we're super happy. Our roofs look great. We have a blended roof, so it was put in properly. It looks fabulous. Unfortunately, I don't have any pictures. I think you do though, and you can share with anybody. We're very, very happy with how the project went, how the work that was done. The company you partnered with, Colonial, did a fabulous job on the actual labor. It was just a great project, and that's why I'm here this morning doing this for you, because if I had any concerns or qualms whatsoever, I wouldn't be giving you recommendations that I've been willing to do for you. So thank you very much.
And I'm going to share my screen real quick and go over the 2 videos, the before and after, so we can kind of see the difference of, what Hurricane Irma left you, and then after SFR got involved, how everything was taken care of.
Okay. You can do that now, or you can send that later.
I am going to put that on the screen right this moment. This is the original video from when we got involved after, I think, 4 or 5 different temporary repairs and kind of seeing the overall conditions of the roof. So originally when the insurance company wrote this estimate, they wanted to take off one roof, salvage the tiles, and then remove the tiles, put them on separate roofs and patch in, each and every single roof. As you can see, there's areas that are tarped. Obviously, there's broken tiles under there, but you're seeing the overall condition of the roof. I mean, it's devastated. It's compromised. And, this being a discontinued tile, there's no way that we could repair it within code. And what the carrier was originally asking for is us to bypass Florida building code and actually repair these roofs to, I don't know, whether it's a financial issue, whether it was just not knowing Florida building code. It was pretty obvious that we could not repair these roofs in the fashion that they believe we could. I mean, there's areas like in this valley to the left. I mean, these are areas that we had to retarp multiple times. So I'm going to fast forward on to this roof and stop it here to kind of see how much damage was actually on this roof. There would be 0% likelihood that we could possibly patch this roof. So now I'm going to pull up the second one, which I believe we had 10 buildings finished at the time that I did this video. You kind of see the big difference. Obviously, it's brand new roofs comparative to what was there originally.
And you can see how close we are to I-75 over there. So when the storm center came up I-75, we were right there.
And this is on the back end of the project when we're finalizing certificate of completions and permits, closing them out. Well, that's all I have for you, Alan. I appreciate your time this morning, sir.
All right, thank you. Good luck.
Have a
Talk
good
to you
day.
later.